Hello to everyone. My name is Nasiba Jumanezova and I'm an English teacher at the Oregon State University. Today's topic is using hedging language in academic writing. So our presentation will try to highlight the points of these points of this topic. Firstly, we'll try to give the definition to the concept of the hedging language, and then we'll try to show a little bit how to make the hedging language in writing. And here you can see will exactly gives you how to use the adverbs of frequency in order to make hedging language, and with the help of the modal verbs or adjectives or nouns we can make also the hedging techniques in our academic writing, and also that causes can be most effective way to express the hedging language. And here we can also do some practice exercise to make hedging language. So here you can see the definite description about the hedging. Hedging, an important feature of academic writing, is also can be the concept of cautious language. So sometimes also it's called vague language. In other words, it's necessary to make decisions about your stance on a particular subject or the strength of the claims you are making. Or in other words, you can say that hedging is an softened language, which is the best way to express the writer's opinion, more helpful to show their distance, the writer's opinion, and between the absoluteness. So in the following we'll try to give more definite definition for the concept of hedging, and we'll try to give the clear explanation about the role of the hedging in effective academic writing, and also we'll try to give some information about the making the hedging strategies in writing research papers. And here we can see that there are two main reasons for using hedging techniques. The first one is while the writer explaining their opinion, they can be another points of view in that field. In that position, the writers use hedging techniques to avoiding the objections, while the others can be expressed their equally opinion. Or another one is the writers cannot be completely the last researcher in the field. This means that it totally continue, and there may be another that in that case the writers can use the hedging language. So here you can see the some information from the history about the hedging. So Skelton in the 1998 is expressed their opinion about the hedging. So according to the Skelton hedging system of a language, that a user distinguishes between what he and what he thinks about what he says. So without hedging, the world is purely propositional, a rigid place where things whether are the case or are not. Or in other words, with simple words, we can say that with a hedging system, language is rendered more flexible and the world more subtle. So you can see the four basic reasons using the hedging language. The first one is the writer can use the hedging language, or while they are explaining their arguments or giving the claims, they can use the hedging techniques because there can be another equally valid points of view in that issues. In that position, using the hedging techniques is more effective in research writing. So the second one is the writers cannot say all the time the new opinion about the issue. This means that it can be the contribution to the fields. In that case, the teacher can also use the hedging language. Or also the writer can hedge their opinion while they are explaining that they cannot say the absolute correctness. In that case, they can use the hedging strategies that show the distance between the writer and the correctness. Or also you can say that in order to explain their ideas, there can be two ways, that is categorical statements, and there are also hedging statements. And in the following we'll also come to this point, that what is the categorical statement and what is the hedging statement. And the fourth one, and I also above mentioned about that, the writers any writer impossible to stay completely up to date on the current state of affairs. It's an continuous process. They can be used the hedging techniques to express the writer opinion. So here some introductory verbs to make the hedging techniques in the research writing. This means that seem, tend, assume, appear, think, believe, doubt, or etc. they can use. So, and also adverbs can be also helpful to hedge the writer's opinion. So you see here, without saying often, it's a kind of sentence, but it means the categorical, it can be the categorical sentence. It's stated that population growth will peak in the next 20 years. If we read this sentence without often, it's a categorical statement, and this opinion can be absolutely accepted. But in the but there can be another points which can show the opposite opinion about the population growth. In that case, mainly the writers use this kind of hedging strategy. That means it's often stated that the absolute population growth will peak in the next 20 years. So here, and also you can see the modal verbs may, might, could, and can. We can help with the help of this kind of modal verbs. We can make the hedging statements like this. Science believe that the population growth could peak in the next 20 years. If here the modal verbs could, it shows that may, could, or if there is some objections, they can express also, because here is given the could modal verb to express the hedging language. So here, and also this certain definition, clear, probably, and possible also can serve to hedge the writer's opinion. Here it's probable that population growth will peak in the next 20 years. Here the word probable is helpful to hedge the writer's opinion. So in the next part also you can see the hedging statement with the help of the possibly, the word possibly, and here the word probability helpful to hedge the writer's opinion. And also you see there is the clause that clauses, also the best way to hedge the writer's opinion. Like this, it could be argued that population growth will peak in the next 20 years. So here the practice exercises. Playing violent video games causes more aggression, bullying, and fighting. This is a categorical statement. This means that while you are reading this sentence or statement, you can see the absoluteness. But here you can see hedging language or vague language. This means that the writer is trying to express their opinion more softened ways. Here you can see it's assumed that playing violent video games may cause more aggression, bullying, and fighting. And the next one is Mars is certainly the focus of much scientific study and often considered the foremost planet for human colonization. And the third one is it could be the case that the certain news reports can never be trusted because of the possibility of media bias, journalist interpretation, and agentic thinking. So here we can see the first example about the categorical claim and hedged claim. So what's the categorical claim? The issues highlighted in this study are applicable to all participating institutions. This means that all kind of institutions participating, and it's applicable to everyone. But if you use the hedging claim that the issue highlighted the study may be applicable to many participating institutions. This means that if there is some objections, they can surely express about that, because here is the not all, it's many. So the next one is the government support will assure. This means that totally assure, not any objection. But if you use the hedged claim that government support may help with the spread of new language, it's more softened. And while expressing the writer's opinion, he or she considering also another's opinion that they may have the valid equally opinion about this topic. Therefore, the writer is using may help, or in other words, using the vague language. So, the next one is confident uncertainty. In other words, if we give more precise definition to the concept of vague language, this is the confident uncertainty. This means that we need to accurately state how precise we can be when doing something and to feel okay with being imprecise, or especially when absolute precision is very difficult, therefore impossible to achieve sometimes. So the third example about hedging, that the first one is categorical statement. It shows the absolute correctness about the writers, and the writer used this kind of statements. They can stay under the flow of the objections. But the writer used the more softened way in order to express their opinion. They can prove their opinion in all the time. So here you can see instead of the proofs, they can use the indicates or suggests a link between the smoking and lung disease. So the next also we can see the difference between the categorical and hedged claims that will continue. The number of unemployment people will continue to rise as the poor economic situation persists. This means that absolute continue. No any objection, no any problem about the continuing the